So what is Taskmaster and why do we need it for our setup? It's basically a memory or a context management system. After prompt engineering and vibe coding and all the hype words that you may have heard or read on social media, there's a new thing called context engineering. Um, and Taskmaster pretty much is a context engineering tool. Why? Because it builds a context around what cursor should be looking at. Let me explain what we have done here in the example before. We requested something from um, cursor and it produced something for us. Now, this software is not yet saved anywhere. We don't use Git and GitHub and so on. But over time, this context window, this basically whatever the model is working on in here, is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when the LLMs get a lot of information and they cannot derive an, a conclusion, they can hallucinate. And these LLM hallucinations are the main cause of code written in a way that we don't want it. And that's when task management becomes really crucial. And Taskmaster is one of the fastest open source project that is growing lately. It's a very, very young project, probably done by one or a few people. It started somewhere in March, and then you can see there are 18,000 GitHub stars, enough community to derive it, 100% JavaScript code. And all it does is one thing. It gives a way for the project to be managed with a task list. So how is it done? I'm gonna initiate another project, another folder. I will call it landing page taskmaster, just to give it some example. I'm gonna open this with cursor. What you need to do is initially when you're setting it up, it's very simple. You need to go to Taskmaster website, click on install instructions, execute this one command on your command line. It should install your Taskmaster. And then after that, execute this. Once you have installed it on your computer, you should see Taskmaster as a command. So if you type it, you should see it green if you're using this terminal called iterm2, which is the one that I'm using, and I have given a detailed instruction on how to use this or how to install it on your system in my Vibe Coding 101 crash course. And if you type help, then you can see all of the items that are available or all of the commands that you can run with the CLI tool called Taskmaster. I can do this taskmaster init in order to initiate this project. You can see that this current project that we are running do not have any files yet. The moment I initiate a project using Taskmaster, it creates certain files for me. I'm going to just press all of them as yes, the default one, to go on. You'll see that it created a lot of files. Some rule files that are basically rules for cursor, an MCP .json file, which is for configuring your taskmaster. You need to provide at least these two keys, Anthropic API and Perplexity API. Perplexity because it searches the internet for latest documentation and so on. Anthropic because it generates code based on the Anthropic's models. And then all of these rule files, including this .taskmaster folder, which has the tasks folder in it. This tasks folder, in a minute, you will see it will contain all of the tasks that we ask cursor to generate. And this will kind of reduce that hallucination chances, and it will tell the um, code generator, be it Claude 4 or whatever model that you have selected from this list, to hallucinate less, because then it focuses entirely on that one task and it creates like a context around that. And one more thing, when you press Command Shift P on your keyboard, then you should be able to see this open MCP settings. And once you have done your settings properly, you should be able to see this green bubble in here, because then this interface, like literally the interface of the chat of cursor, can interact with Taskmaster's CLI that we have seen through an MCP interface, which we'll see in a minute. I'm going to put this again in this chat mode so that I can see the entire window as a chat. And I will start talking on the microphone for building something in detail. Can you please create a landing page for an AI automation consultancy or AI automation agency company called Smart Geeks? We should be able to generate multiple services that we can provide, like AI automation, AI training, and voice AI agent development. Provide multiple sections, and also a very nice landing page with some CSS animations, and with some scroll animations. It should be a one pager, so the menu should have link to the segments and so on. Please create a PRD file from this. Do not generate any code yet. So PRD stands for Product Requirement Document, and prd.txt. This is how the way Taskmaster works. So you create like one PRD file, and then from that PRD file, Taskmaster generates all your tasks and then puts it inside this folder. And once you have that available, then you can see a list of all the tasks when you type here Taskmaster list. Right now, it doesn't have any tasks. It's an empty file here, therefore it gives this error. Once the tasks are generated, then you will see it in the right place. So it's now generating this file called with all the details. I highly recommend reading this file when you generate it, because this file is basically the source of the truth, which will become the source for all the tasks that are generated. And these tasks will become the source of the truth for the LLM later on to generate the rest of the tasks. So therefore, it's important that you should make sure that this PRD document is properly done. And I can already see that it hallucinated and it created these, I saw some planning around it. I will click on accept so I can see it properly here. So the development phases, project timeline, and so on, I will literally delete that section because I don't need the deadline for that. But this is good enough. Now what I will do is I will just ask cursor to create tasks from that PRD file and then puts it here. So I will just drag and drop this thing here and say that based on this, can you please create Taskmaster tasks? And then this is the time when you should be able to see the MCP integrations kick in, and then the UI will be a little bit different. That basically will execute. There you go. This is calling this tool, PRD, parse PRD. This is one command of if you type here help, parse prd is one command here that is right now being executed through an MCP interface. Like literally this UI, if you see it, that means your MCP integrations went correctly. And because this is in green mode, that means it's running. Then right now it's going in that integrated environment. So it's under the hood calling taskmaster, and it is parsing this PRD and then generating these tasks, and not only putting it there, but also a file called tasks.json, which you'll see it in just a minute after this generation is completed. So once the tasks are generated, then we should also be able to see a task list in here, which is a very common practice in that sense. The speed of this is dependent on the speed of the LLM that is attached with this. So therefore, the entire section of vibe coding will have this kind of an experience where we need to kind of wait for multiple seconds, and then it will go to the next one. As you just saw, that it went to the next one, and then it's now getting the tasks, and it's generating the tasks. So it cannot be made faster because it is doing a lot of calls. Therefore, it has to go through that. So now it created all of these tasks. You can see that I executed taskmaster list in my terminal. It has a project dashboard. It says the progress is 0. As it progresses, it executes tasks. You see the list of tasks here, but you can see here that it's planning to do all of these 15 tasks. That includes the initial project setup, implementing responsive layout, developing the hero section and animations, and so on and so forth. What I will do now is ask Taskmaster to please start. So one important thing that I'm not doing in this particular section is, because I'm just explaining what's Taskmaster, is not using GitHub. But I highly recommend using GitHub and pushing your Git commands as soon as something is tangible. Right now would have been the right time to do the GitHub saving moment, like git add, git commit, git push, those 3 commands. And those are all the commands that I have explained in great detail in my vibe coding crash course. So what I will do is now I will ask Cursor, can you please now implement all of the 15 tasks at once, and don't ask me questions or permissions. Do it all in one go and go on autonomous mode. This is not something I recommend doing, because otherwise there is no reason for maintaining this task list. The reason I want to do this is to show you one thing, that because of this setup and because of this MCP integration and that task list management and so-called YOLO mode turn on in Cursor, it can go in that indefinite cycle, and then it keeps creating these files, and it keeps going on in this infinite loop of generating code, and then finally you get a result after all of these tasks are completed. Since it's going to take a long time, I'm going to stop the video recording. In the next video, either we will see a concept that is important that I think you should know about. Other than that, it's just this code generation going for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes. Once it's ready, then I'll resume the recording and we'll evaluate the next steps. And once you have a very good grasp of what is Taskmaster, what is Cursor. Then we'll go and start our actual project, which is this vibe coding with Claude Code, building the Next.js and Supabase integrated application for our voice AI agent. So now I'll monitor the code generation in Cursor. You guys can go have a coffee, and I'll see you in the next video.